You go up to the meanest, roughest looking people. My object, my goal, and seriously in life, is everyone I meet during the day that I can give them a smile and even try to get them to laugh. Because I don't want someone at the end of the day say, nobody smiled that was good to me.
Good morning, everybody. This is Bob Turner again, coming at you live from Foley's Fitness. We've got yet another interview. Today we're with Skip Robinson, and we're going to chat with him for a little while, pick his brain on some fitness, and just talk about his life in the fitness industry as a teacher and a bunch of other things. So here he is, Skip. He's 78 years old, right? He's been married
78 seasons.
78 seasons. He's been married to his wife Dolores for 20 years.
Yeah.
Just using my phone here for some notes because there's a lot on you. He's got 3 kids, 5 grandkids. Skip was a Marine for 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's one of 3 generations. He's got the dog tags, his dad, himself, and his late son. So pretty cool stuff. He was a science teacher for 34 years. In fact, one of our previous guests, Michael Height, who we had on the podcast, the big, tall, rugged bodybuilder guy, Skip had him as a 7th grade student. So Skip's been around a while. He was on the Governor's Council for Fitness. He's run youth camps, youth summer fitness camps. He was Mr. World Bodybuilding Champ, Mr. USA, Mr. America. Started the Lifeline program at USM, ran the USM gym. I kind of need a drink of water after I get done introducing you. He co-promoted the Mr. and Miss Maine competitions with his good friend, longtime friend Marty Joyce, and trained out in California in the same gym as Schwarzenegger and Ferrigno.
Yeah.
It's part of the Weeder program out there, right?
It's a mecca.
Yep. And he actually helped Mike Foley a little bit. So, maybe without Skip Robinson, we're not all sitting here in Mike Foley's gym. Who knows? But he's a big networking guy, big community guy. And one of the things we were talking about before we hit record was that he likes to touch everybody's life every day when he comes into the gym. So, and he's just a community builder. I noticed that before. I knew who you were when I first started coming here, but hadn't really met you. And it wasn't long before you came up and your fist pump, and I'm like, all right, that's got to be Skip. So anyway, let's just chat a little bit. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. I don't know that I left anything out. I probably did. But I've enjoyed getting to know you over here and seeing what you're doing now in this season of your life. So it's been pretty cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I wanted to thank you for that. And he mentioned about he might have missed some of the things. I have a list right here. It's about 4 or 5. Just kidding. I would like to just correct one thing you said. It was Masters Mr. America that I won. It was over 40.
Over 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I won my class. So I had to rectify that. I mean, I won my class. I did in the AAU Mr. World.
Yep.
So, but other than that, it's been a fun ride.
Been a fun ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you taught for 34 years.
34 years.
Social studies, science, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I started out teaching just science, then a little health, and then science and health both. And then they asked me to teach social studies, and they said that I could do a 1 year without a degree in social studies. So when I took my certification down to the principal, she looked at it and she says, do you know you have a degree in social studies? Because science, marine biology was my major.
Yeah.
But I've always had a fondness for history anyway. So I was fortunate to, in the middle school, you had to teach both. And then the last year, I ended up, they asked me to teach health. And that was a good year. And that's, I went down and asked Kathy Rossi, who was my good principal. I asked her if I was at the top of my game, and she said I was. I says, I'm out of here. And I did finish the year out, though.
Yeah.
And then that afternoon, it was in 2006, or the very next day, I went right down to the, not here, it was another gym, and started training people full-time, which I've been doing part-time in summers since, I think Moses was my first client, you know, so, you know, carrying the stones up the
Yep.
mountain. Okay, good.
Yep, perfect.
That was a joke. But anyway, I think I was the first personal trainer in the state. If I wasn't, I'm sure it was close to it. So now everyone has a coach online or something like that.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, because the fitness industry has really come, you know, of age really in your lifetime. You know, before it was, you know, guys banging iron, you know, banging weights in the gym, and there really wasn't a lot of rhyme or reason to it. But in your lifetime, they've really put the science to it. Now people are paying attention to their nutrition. Now they're working with a plan. They're working with a coach. How has that how's that affected how you go about your routine, even your own workouts?
It has changed. The nutrition obviously has gotten better.
Yeah.
The equipment is it's got more fancy since the days of, Ed Jubenville used to make the very basic equipment from Massachusetts, and Joe Weider had a line, the regular basic barbells and plates and stuff. And then Arthur Jones came out with the Nautilus in the 70s, and we got to talk about that. And the machine, it's got more technical as far as the machines go and things like that, but you don't need all those machines. Barbells, dumbbells are still a great way of changing your body. Whether you don't need the fancy machine. You can do your body weight exercises and it works. But the key thing is you can't out-exercise a bad diet.
Right.
So you have to eat healthy and smart. And you can see your body change. And everybody can change, make a change in their body. So as far as the changes, I've mentioned that, but you still, I have changed my training because I don't want to be like just old school. I've always prided myself on keeping up with the latest. Back in the 80s, I was training the Maine Mariners.
Yep.
And they were the parent club was the Philadelphia Flyers. So when they come up here in the fall for their training, I was their strength and conditioning coach. And a lot has changed since then. But you want to have flexible. You want to be flexible. You want to eat right, and just be safe. There's a lot of online trainers out there. There are some that are very good, but there's a lot out there that will win a contest and all of a sudden they're an online trainer.
All of a sudden they know something.
And that's not good.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like being one-on-one with a trainer,
right?
Because then you can see the person, how much effort they're doing. Are they doing it safely? With me on the personal training, it's always been about safety first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't yell at people. I actually laugh. I have a good time when I'm training.
Oh, I've watched you. I see you. You enjoyed it. You're talking.
Yeah, I do, but I push everybody to their level.
Right.
I'm certified to train kids all the way up to professional athletes.
Yep.
And
so let's hit on that for a minute. So we're here at Foley's Fitness. You're a personal trainer here at Foley's, okay? And are you taking on new clients?
At the minute, no.
He's got too many.
I know. My lovely wife, who's sitting right over there, Dolores, she's made it clear that I am supposedly retired, and I only work 6 in the morning until 10.
That's it, just
and
a half a day.
I have four
slots?
people a day, slots a day, and they all know that if they give it up, is over.
They don't get it back.
Yeah, and so they're all long-term people.
Well,
And,
that's certainly a benefit of having been around a while.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I have a waiting list. I do, because people go away on vacation and get sick and stuff like that.
What about if somebody wanted a plan, wasn't going to work with you on a weekly basis, but came and met with you and said, hey, Skip, would you just kind of get me going? Do you do that?
I do give free advice.
Yep.
You know, and I don't.
Most
mean
older
that,
guys do.
Yeah. and I don't mean that as anything.
No,
but,
I get it.
I go around. You see me. I go around if between clients. Usually my workouts last about 50 minutes, and I'll go around between and ask people how the training's going in the locker room and stuff, and ask them if they have any questions or anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it that way. Do I sit down sometimes and help somebody do an exercise program? I do, but I'd rather train them. Work with them, because the technique, I can show them ways that they can make faster improvements. Because time is of the essence. On this, nobody has time. But as my buddy Arnold says, there's 24 hours in a day. When 8 hours you work, and you've seen him on YouTube and stuff. You can make time. Yeah.
We always find time for what's important to us.
Yeah. It's fitness is wellness. I mean, I can't imagine when I leave this good earth, I'm gonna have a pair of dumbbells in my hand or something.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not exercising. I can't. I can't do what I used to do, but I am honestly enjoying my time now in the gym more than I did when I competed.
That's interesting.
I don't have to train as hard.
Well, I ran into Marty Joyce over here one day.
Good
we talked
friend.
for a while, and he mentioned that. He said, Bobby, anybody that's known me more than 20 years calls me Bobby, but Bobby, he said, he goes, all that other stuff that I did, all the other accomplishments, he goes, I don't want to talk about that. He goes, I want to talk about what I can do at age 75. Let's write a new story. Yeah. So it's really cool to see you guys doing that. Yeah. And coming in and kicking ass in your own way. Yeah. And being okay with, well, I didn't bench what I used to bench. No. But I'm at the gym, I'm getting it done, and I'm being healthy. Yeah. So good for you.
Yeah. Marty is one of a kind.
Yeah,
He's
is.
a good friend. Love the guy. And he's special. He still has that burning desire, to be the best.
Right.
And he's training for upcoming show. He wants to do a deadlift of 500 pounds. He already has the world record for his age group.
Yeah.
So God bless him.
Yeah. So you hang around with some pretty cool cats.
Oh yeah. Always have.
Yep. Yeah. So one of the things I always try to get a little bit prepared for these kind of things, and I didn't know this, but I was interesting to read that it said, Skip actually was one of the first charter member of the Iron Horseman Club here in Maine. I said, wow. Okay. Well, the number 5 guy out of 10 or so.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
So talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. I always thought I was the 7th. Yeah. And I found my ID card, and I was number 5, but 007 sounds so much better, like that. It was, here's how it started, okay? Mr. Cameraman, settle down, because this is going to take some time. We, on 4th Street, there was this gentleman, Al Martin.
Yeah.
Great guy, but colorful, to say the least. He had a locksmith's shop, and he used to make duplicate keys to different places, but I probably won't go into what he used those duplicate keys for, Rest in peace, Al, I love you. So he liked horses.
Yeah.
And I want to say horses, but I'll say horses.
Horses.
And he liked trains. And he liked to weightlift. So he decided to have a health club. So he bought this place on 4th Street. And the building was 4 stories high or 3 stories high. And the bottom place was a locksmith shop. Then you go up a set of stairs, and then there was this gym, which was pretty cool at the time. And then you could look out the windows down on 4th Street, and back in the late '60s, not the same as what it is now. And then up above that, there was this empty space that we, the Iron Horseman, started to use as the clubhouse. Now, unbeknownst to us, there was no computer back then or anything, and I designed this, the logo, the center. It was Iron Horseman, the rocker on top, Maine. And the minute you put that cube, MC, even though we were just a riding club, we wanted to have a good time, but that designates something else, that MC, as the main rocker underneath. So I designed a horse's head for Al, okay? And then I saw the Hells Angels had this big wing, white wing. I thought that was impressive. So I just put a white wing in there. And we had it sitting on top of like some a railroad car wheels.
Yeah.
Thought that was quite clever. So when Jake, who's another story, when he come back from California, he and I trained together, and he was a Hells Angel, and that's how I got the idea of the white, the wing. So everything was good until we go to Laconia. Thank God I had to work. I couldn't go. And one of our sergeant of arms and the president, Dave Stevens, they went down. I think Harold Sarge, he had an Ultra or something. He went down to some Poggy Bake truck on the Maine to get some milk. Well, the Hells Angels saw him, and they saw their white wing. Huh. It wasn't trademarked back then, but it might as well have been. So they took those 2 guys, took them back to their camp, and I love you, Hells Angels, if any of you hear this. And they kind of did a number on these 2 guys, and they said, if you don't bring that center patch to us, everybody, then, there's going to be hell to pay, So they come back and tell me about this, and I'm the last one to have the patch. And I says, I ain't taking mine. I stopped keeping mine. So I'm driving around. This is before I started teaching. It was a year before. I'm riding around town.
How old were you then? Late 20s or something?
Yeah, probably 25, 26, something like that. I started teaching when I was 27, 72. So it was just before that. And so I go to the meeting. And it was it used to be a warehouse right behind, right across from Jay's on the Portland Wharf, Jay's Oyster Bar. And we'd ride our motorcycles in and all that. So I drive up. The girl I was dating at the time inherited some money. She just bought this bright yellow Corvette. So we drove down on that. And we turn around and I look, and one of my brothers is standing there with a shotgun. And I said, "Ooh, this is impressive." And I go inside, and some of them were brandishing guns and stuff, So I said, well, the meeting starts at church, they call it. I said, well, what's up? And they said the Hells Angels said they were going to come down and blow the clubhouse up because they saw someone riding around Portland with their wings still on. Whoops. So anyway, I think the next week or so, I ended up turning my colors in good standing, because I still an Iron Horseman to this day. So, because I had to start, teaching like that. And the truth is, on the Iron Horseman, back then, is we didn't know that the original charter started, I think it was in Cincinnati.
Yep.
And because we didn't know.
Right.
And then people, start going to Laconia and things like that. Then you see the others, and then they combined.
Right.
And now it's worldwide.
Still got a bike?
I do.
Yeah.
I do a Fat Boy.
Yeah.
It's if anyone would like to buy it, it's for sale. Private message me later.
So what's a typical day like for you right now?
I usually go to bed at 7:30 at night.
Wow.
I like to go to bed and read.
Yep.
And I've got a lab, Sophia, that likes to have me read to her. She takes most of the bed, but anyway. And then I get up early, like around 3:30.
Yep.
And sometimes between 3 and 3:30. And I'll go on the internet, go through the news and stuff.
Yep.
I'm right in the middle, leaning to the right a little bit. I look at all the news, just see what's happening, and then I go on the sports and check that out, and then shower, and then I usually come down here around 5:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And do a little workout, and then start with my clients, and then I don't do a lot of these podcasts because I'm usually getting ready to take a nap at this time. And then seriously, I'll do stuff around. I'll say any errands and stuff that we have to do.
Yep. Well, you've lived through the life cycle of a bunch of different gyms, I'm sure. So Mike's gracious enough to let us do this here, and he likes when we come over and do a podcast. But what would you say about Foley's Fitness that's different than other places where you've been associated with?
The biggest thing, there's one and two things that are rates equal to each other, whatever. The first one, the cleanliness in here.
Yeah.
This is the cleanest gym I've ever been in. And when I walk by and I see some of the staff cleaning the machines and stuff, I always thank them. And because Foley's is known, for doing keeping a clean gym. And also, from the minute you walk through that door, the staff is friendly. They greet you at the door and like that. I know, because for 11 years I taught weight training and health at the University, Southern Maine. It was an extra, a night course that I taught. And one of the things that I mentioned, when a person goes into a gym, it's very, very nerve-wracking. If I went to another gym, I'd still feel a little, off, and I've been, in gym forever. So that's why I go around and introduce myself, because you can't believe how many different people that it's their first day here, and I just...
Well, I noticed that about you. I'm like, man, this guy knows every single person in this gym, but you really don't. You actually just avail yourself to them, and that's huge, because when you come into a gym, it's particularly a big place like this, it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that, here we are, we're between Christmas and New Year's. There's a lot of people who are watching this probably thinking, okay, I got to get going. I got to get on the horse here.
Yeah.
The hoss.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
And get working out.
Yeah.
I've always felt like I've heard that statement. It's not 80% gym and 20% diet. It's 80% diet, 20% gym. However, the gym's a part of it. What would you say to somebody that's struggling with just getting the motivation to walk through the door come 2023?
It's the longest journey starts with one step.
Yep.
You got to suck it up, and you're doing it for yourself, for your health. Nobody else cares. When you come into the gym, nobody's looking at you.
Right.
They're so in tune to what they're doing, and that's why when I train somebody, I go around and introduce them to the people.
Right.
Sometimes I introduce them 2 or 3 times the same person. But still, I want them to be comfortable in a gym. But it's the individual is got to make that first step, that commitment. It don't make lofty goals saying next year I'll be 50 pounds lighter. Because you and I know most New Year's resolutions. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Second time you got it.
Yeah. Is so you're counting now, huh? we're going to have to cut that one. Yeah, they fail.
Right.
You
A couple
know?
of weeks or
Yeah.
a month, 4 to 6 weeks,
Yeah.
and they're back out.
And don't start a crazy, any diet works if you stick to it. Doesn't matter what kind it is. But don't do this strict, because you're going to fail.
Right.
And how many people I see come in here and they'll almost kill themselves to do it. And that's no way either. I've been doing this since I think 1965. And I can remember the first, we trained at our homes. And in the wintertime, my first gym I trained at, it was in a garage, a person's house garage.
Yep.
Man, we'd have a Victrola. And I can remember the Beach Boys' greatest hits. And you'd have mittens, and you'd try to put the needle down on the thing. Yep. And then, and then one time the sewer backed up in this house that we were training. And we were down there doing curls, straddling the puddles, and it was just...
That's hardcore.
But I'll tell you right now, I tried it in high school for a week here, a week there, didn't like it.
Yeah.
When I got out of the Marine Reserves, when I get out, I started skydiving. Actually, I was in the reserves at the time, and I started skydiving. And I have no idea where I'm going with this, but anyway, I'll think of
we run into that sometime with some of our older podcast guests.
And I knew when I started weight training back then. I remember what it was. I was weight training hard, and when I got out of high school, and people would say they were 5'8", 5'9", they weighed 130, whatever. I did.
Yeah.
I was 5'9", and I weighed 135 pounds. And people would say, was you a geek? Or said, no, I wasn't. I played the sports and stuff. I stayed back a year because I liked the social life. Can you see a pattern here? And I just, when the principal called me in the office with my parents, they said, you're going to have to stay back, repeat a year. I was standing like this. I put my head down. And then when I went outside, it was like Ray Bork scoring the Stanley Cup goal. I go, yes! I don't have to go out in the real world. But when I walked out that 5th year, if somebody come up to me and said, you're going to have a successful life in weight training, or you're going to be a school teacher or something like that, I'd look at them and say, what are they on? Because I had no... I used to lug beef down on Commercial Street. My father owned a Robinson's Market. Best education ever.
Yep.
My father, I'm a chip off the old block with him. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If he was a tree, you'd see the bark right down the front of me. If you like me, you'd love him. And everybody did. And I loved the way he talked to people. And I worked for him in that store for probably a couple of years. So that was probably the best education.
And a lot of those traits you still utilize today in the gym and talking to people.
Oh yeah, I do. I love it. I just you just meet so many people.
There's probably been 15 to 20 people
you.
walk by here during this podcast, and he's waved every one of them. And they're all looking, oh, they skipped through it. So that says a lot about you. People like you.
Yeah. When I got into I like them too. When I got into weight training, I won the Mr. Maine. First time I tried it, I got like 5th place. What was so bad about that is there was only 4 competitors. The custodian beat me. That's how bad I was. But then I didn't like getting beat.
Yeah.
So the next year, I think I won it. Yeah, 1971 anyway. Then, with that prestigious win behind me, I went to the Boston YMCA. It was called Mr. Boston YMCA.
Yep.
You walked out, there's this one light with a black backdrop in the back in the old Boston Ys. It's been there since forever. So they had a weightlifting contest first, which I entered and I won, my class. The bodybuilding was always second nature to a power meet.
Yeah.
All right.
Powerlifting.
So around 9 o'clock, I'm getting ready to go out on stage. Well, I ended up getting second place, and the first place winner was "Bye, love you, Dave." That was my wife. The first place guy that won was Captain Bruce Lyons. He was in the Marines.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, after the show, I'm kind of dejected and all that, and I deserve second. You never think you do, but I did. And as I'm leaving the place, this young guy, a few years younger than me, comes up and he's got a camera in his hand. And he goes, he introduced himself. His name was Ed Connors. And I'll tell you a little more about him. Very interesting guy. And he just wrote a book, The Three Amigos, which is, I think it's a bestseller. If it's not, but it's the history of Gold's Gym. And we'll get into that in a minute. But he said, you didn't win, but he said, you've got the most potential. And I go, okay, yeah. And he said, I'm going to send you a plane ticket. He said, I want you to go out to California. And he says, I'll meet you in New York. So I said, all right. So he sent me a plane ticket. And I go out to California. And if I can remember going by Gold's Gym, and it was closed. I can remember getting off the freeway, seeing Santa Monica, and that was all the magazines. I thought at this time, the magazines, it was trick photography. I said, nobody can be that big.
Yeah.
So when I went out there, I got there real early, and because I wanted to see Arnold. The first guy that meets me, it's all glass in the place. It's a cinder block place. It's probably no bigger than this, maybe twice as big as this.
Yep.
That's it. With Joe Gold, that built the gym, Gold's Gym, he made all the equipment. He was a merchant marine. So I get there, and here comes Dave Draper. He's got the headband on, long blonde hair. He was in all the magazines back. They called him the Blonde Bomber.
Yeah.
Where'd you hear my nickname? So he comes in, and it's like the light was behind him. And I go, Jesus, I thought I was having a religious epiphany. and I met him. He was Mr. America, Mr. Universe. He was the #1 person in the magazine and stuff before Arnold come along. When Arnold come along, as a matter of fact, he just passed away, I think, this last year.
Yeah.
So anyway, Arnold comes in, and I go right up to him. And I said, my name is, you just call me Skip. I did
Skip.
that Austrian accent. But when he comes in a building, it doesn't matter where, everybody just, right now it would be so, as well as, I do know him, I haven't seen him in years, but it would be hard to get near him because he's got handlers and everything, But anyway, I asked him if I could train with him and stuff, and I was there like for a week that time, and I did. And then Frank Zane come in, and Frank was my idol. He was a school teacher, and he went on to win Mr. Olympia and stuff.
Yeah.
And I tried to get a teaching job out there, and I almost did. And I was in a competition with this other lady, and it was about the computer background at the time I didn't have. She did. She got it, but I was teaching back here. I was in like my 7th year teaching, and that next year they all got laid off. So imagine if I'd have sold my house and gone out there.
Yep. Funny how things work.
Oh, it worked out. So I meet Joe Weider. He comes in the gym, and he's taking pictures of Arnold and those guys, and I go, Joe, I said, I'd like to work for you. I said, maybe I could work in your warehouse, because some of the bodybuilders did that. And he had a funny voice. And he says, no, he says, I can't bring you in the warehouse. You lose weight. He says, I want you to get bigger. And he says, how about if I just sign you to a contract, you train, former student right there, and just train, and every Monday come out and do an interview, and we'll photograph you, tell like how you built your arm, stuff like that. So he signed me to I think it was like 11-week contract at that summer, and I used to get my free food supplements and all that.
Yep.
And $100 a week. And back in the 70s, that wasn't bad. It was better than I was making teaching.
Right.
So that happened. And then I'd go out on vacations and I'd stay with this Ed Connors. He bought the original gold. No, they sold the one on 96 or 106 Pacific Avenue. They moved up to Santa Monica. That was in Venice. They moved up to Santa Monica, and Ken Sprague bought it. He was a porno star, Dakota.
Yep.
He bought it, and then Ed bought it from him. And then Ed went on to franchise the business. And I think his franchise business was up to 700 franchise. I could have got in on that if I'd have had like $10,000.
Right.
But back then, $10,000. And he told me
today.
at the time he didn't want to uproot me because I had 2 kids at the time.
Yeah.
So I owe all most of my success to Ed having the faith in me to bring me out there. And I am mentioned in his book, The Three Musketeers, very briefly.
Isn't it funny how sometimes you don't believe in yourself on something until someone else
I know.
sees something in you?
And I honestly, back then, I didn't have a lot of faith in myself. Like at the Mr. America, not the Mass, this is the Mr. America. I think I got 6th in 1977 or whatever like that.
Yep.
You can Google it. I won Best Poser, and it was at the Shrine Auditorium, and that's where they've had the Oscars and all that. Sally Fields was in the front row, Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, a score other people. Joe Weider is sitting with Russ Warner and his daughter. Russ Warner was the big photographer, one of them for Weider.
Yeah.
She said, look at that guy over there. He looks like a young, oh God, not Paul Newman, Robert Redford.
Yep.
He comes out after the show. He comes up to me and he said, Skip, get your Screen Actors Guild, whatever card, whatever,
yep.
Like that. And I had now I do it in a second,
Yeah.
But back then I was comfortable teaching. And as it turned out, it was the best decision I ever made, was to stay back here and teach school.
Yeah.
If I'd have stayed out there with that life in the fast lane, and when you're being sponsored by people and you're driving the best cars and stuff like that, it's a different world, I used to have to come back and almost lay in bed for a whole day just to unwind.
Just to recover,
Yeah. So, they'd be asking you for autographs and stuff. Then you come back in the classroom, not a lot of autographs, but every once in a while. And then you get back in the classroom and they go, Mr. Robinson, we're going to have any homework tonight?
Right. Little splash of reality for you, right?
Yeah. So
you lead with this saying, I've heard you say it, just another day in paradise. Tell me about that.
I used to go in and say that in my classroom. I don't know where, maybe my father come up with it, but if I had a penny for every time I've said that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you. I'd be living life in the fast lane.
Well, if you had 10 grand, you'd invest it in the
Oh,
gold.
I know. It's probably going to watch this and going to say, that's not true. But I think that's what the other, Pete Grimkowski and Jenny Doyle, I think, was there. There was 3 of them.
Yeah.
And that's how the 3 amigos come about.
I'm sitting here wondering how you stay so sharp, because I'm 27 years younger than you or something. And I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. And you're rattling off all these names and places. And,
you know what's good? There's a lot of bodybuilders that aren't with us anymore from back in that era. The classic, I've got, there's John Defenders in New Jersey, I think. He was Mr. USA, and he's still promoting ultra fit nutrition. And there's some others, but like Frank Zane, I think he's around 80 right now, and he runs a gym out of his house. He's well-to-do because he won Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And when you win your class in Mr. World, you better have a daytime job.
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you, I am so blessed. Like I've said, I've been in a lot of gyms. This is the best. I mean, this is going to be my last one that I'm going to, next 20 years or whatever. But my wife and I ran our business out of the fitness factory. And she did the nutrition. So when Mike opened this up, I didn't want, to try to come down here because I thought Mike would be interfering. Hey, Tammy, would be too be competition. He wouldn't want her. You know. As it turned out, he wouldn't even care.
Right.
But she retired, and I said, some of the guys at Marty said, "You got to come down to Foley's," and I said, "I don't even know if he wants me." And I helped him get ready for his first show. And so a little while later, I think it was that afternoon, I get a phone call from Mike. He says, "Come on down." So I went down, I walk in here, there's 27 trainers. And I'm saying, how does anyone make any money with 27 trainers?
Right.
But I am so thankful that he and his brother, Jimmy, who when I ran USM gym, he used to, he was a baseball player.
Yep.
And he used to come in there, and that's how I met him.
Well, it's funny. Anytime, I don't think I've been in here once and not seen either Mike or Joe or you.
Yeah.
They're in the building.
Yeah.
And if you had a problem, you can go to them. They're not just in the building; they're working out.
Oh yeah.
And you come in here at 5 a.m. You see Mike doing his thing. Joe's every day. I see him all the time.
Michael is the most regimented person I know. He reminds me at contest time, but he does it 24/7, and he is. God bless him. I don't know how he does it, but he does. And he's got a tremendous business going as far as his nutrition, and he's the best at that.
And he'll tell you just like it is when you're in his office too.
Yeah, he's got those Mikey sayings on the outside of his.
There's no calories and stress, Bob.
Yeah. Or you can't out-exercise a bad diet or something like that,
He gets fired up.
Oh, when I walk by him, I hold my stomach in.
Come in and walk behind the clothes racks. There's Foley. I don't want to see him coming in.
Now, this is, this, you don't even know what, like a lot of times I won't even know what day it is.
Right.
Because it's the same. I mean, my wife won't let me come in on Saturday. Last Saturday, Christmas.
Probably because you never get out of here.
I know. I said to her, I remember, she brought coffee into me in bed. And I had the computer on top of my dog so I could, well, Sophie's a good dog. So anyway, I said, I'm going down to the gym Saturday. Now, we've got people coming at 1 o'clock, my kids and
Christmas
stuff.
Eve.
Oh, yeah. And the minute I said that, I knew I had said the wrong thing. If there was any way of getting the words back, I tried. I was, even the laptop that was in front of me, I was trying to, and it was crazy. And I knew the minute I said, oh. And then she was perched up on top of one of the bedposts, just ready to spring. And but anyway, Saturdays I don't. I could come in here 7 days a week and be here all day long.
Yeah.
But
a lot of guys your age would be done. They would be retired and they'd be either in Florida or being a tourist. But that doesn't seem to You seem to still have your foot on the gas.
No,
to some degree.
No, I need this.
Yeah.
It's just fun. You know, it's not, my job is not as hard as I make it look. I got it all up here.
Right.
But I want to share it, you know, and it's like I said, I will help people for free, you know, when I have time.
Did you ever write a book?
You know, I've got folders on my laptop, my iMac Pro.
Yeah.
And like I like photography. When the pandemic hit, I said, what am I going to do? I started, you know how you had to wash your hands and stuff? I said, I'll do 10 push-ups against the sink because I've had shoulder replacement. I can't get out on the ground. And I'll do 10 deep knee bends. And every time I wash my hands, geez, after about 2 or 3 weeks, my shoulders started soaring. So anyway, I just, I said, I've got to do something. So I wanted to be known as the best iPhone photographer. My wife says, you know, I've got this Nikon in there. It was a 7,000, 7,500 or something like that. And you know, when you start with a camera, it's in, you know, you can start it on automatic, but there's a lot to it. So what I did is every day I went on YouTube and I bought a 750, which was a little more expensive, and I got a nice lens because it's the lens more than the camera.
Yeah.
So I had been taking for the last 5 years or so pictures. I live on Highland Lake, of the sunrises. If it's colorful.
I see them on Facebook.
Yeah. And I love doing that. I mean, oh God, I've used the camera between my legs, behind my back. I've laid down on the ground. I've had to call Dolores to come get me. But every inch of my front yard, I've done it. I've climbed trees, everything.
Yeah.
But I started off photographing through my kitchen window. I put one of those old red kitchen with the chrome with red. Taking pictures of cardinals, hummingbirds, anything like that, and I kept studying. I just kept, you know, what are the settings for this, and you know that the longer you, I have an imaginary friend right there, because I hear voices, and the more you do it, it's like anything, you understand it.
Right.
So after 2 years, in the first year, I must have studied 5 or 6 hours a day. I was obsessed with it, taking hundreds and hundreds of pictures, putting them on the computer like that. So I enjoy, you know, doing that. I enjoy doing the videos of my clients and stuff in here because it shows them that they're making progress.
Right.
And they all like it, you know, the social media now.
Yeah.
So, and I always tell them, I say, if you're not seeing improvement, fire my ass. I says, I'm a nice guy, but still, if you're not doing getting the improvement. Now, I have some clients that don't necessarily need, they have other needs. You know, it's just I try to be a good listener, but they all know my problems too, you know? So but you have a rapport with your clients. And like mine are all long-term. I have one that's it's got to be 20 years.
Well, it's good that you're accountable and what you said, hey, fire my ass. Like one of the things I've enjoyed about working with Mike over the years is that I let him drive.
Yeah.
And I don't have to figure it out. As long as I eat this, I know I'm going to lose weight or get more fit, whatever I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And if I don't, it's on him to make the changes and figure it out. So I like that. And it sounds like you do the same thing.
Yeah. No, it's I'm blessed. I really am. Usually my chapel is in my truck, the Punisher, on the Shadow, my Mustang. But I usually, before I head out, I'll say a prayer, hoping that I can help, you know, somebody. In some of the other gyms that were struggling, I used to pray that we could, help them, get it straight, you know. But this place here is, it's awesome. I mean, I get a kick out of, coming in here, Would do you come down the turnpike when you got here?
Yep.
The ramp that you get off?
Yeah.
I roll the windows down. I have Jerry Lee Lewis station on Pandora. I love rock and roll piano. And I'll blast that with the windows down all the way till I get here. People will haul up at the light there by Cabela's and they'll look over and say, okay.
Skips headed to the gym.
Yeah, there you go. Plus I got the mug of coffee too,
Yep. Well, I mean, you've had a lot of fun. You're a passionate guy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting and invigorating to talk to somebody your age that's still getting up and getting it done every day,
I'm so thankful that I am this old. I mean, think of all the military guys that have passed away. And as you know, my son, my youngest son, it's my youngest. He passed away of a drug overdose. And Marine, good-looking guy, good-looking, athlete, affable. But it's a disease, and you see all the people that you just look at the obituary page, So.
Yeah.
But let's keep this on a happy note.
Happy note. I was.
I know. He went to the dark side. See,
Well,
that's
all right.
my other. I'm like Sybil. I've got all kinds of now.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've learned, whether it's coaching people or employing people over the years, or even doing this podcast, is people got a lot of shit.
Yeah.
People have been through a lot.
Oh yeah.
And they may be dealing with a lot. And just because they don't say it or you don't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
So somebody like yourself that's going through life and going through this gym and saying, hey, how you doing? How are you today? Might be the one thing that got somebody through the day or just improved their life a little bit or got them to come back the next day and said, you know what, I all right. I guess I feel like I belong a little bit there more than I did yesterday.
I've had people say that. And that's a reward.
Yeah.
When you teach, you don't always get a reward.
Right.
But I have, there's a few in here that I had in the 7th grade that trained. There's probably 10 that I know of, In one example, one of the toughest people I trained, Mary Crowder. She's just retired attorney. She was an advocate for, I'm sorry, Mary, if I'm following this up, but child protective, like that.
Arena.
And I met her about 15 years ago. She was coming into the gym, and I had seen her in the gym doing cardio. And I said to her, I said, do you ever weight lift? And she said, well, I don't know how to do this stuff. And I said, well, you want a lesson? And she said yes. And I've been with her, like her, probably 15 years. She's a really good friend. And the thing that's remarkable is, that day she was coming in to cancel her membership.
No shit.
And now she's a gym rat, aren't you, Mary? Good friend. Good,
yeah. What else? Is there anything else you want to share?
I don't know. I don't. I'm just so blessed.
Yeah.
It's. I could go on and on, but
Yeah, I immediately when I first met you, I was like, positive outlook was the thing that came to mind, and it was really cool. You're walking around, you're fist pumping people. Like, just another day in paradise. How you guys doing? I walked out of the locker room with you today, and you hit popped 3 guys on the way out, and you just never know how you're going to impact somebody's day.
And it's so important to I try to make a difference in people's lives, even on social media. It's either the horizon shots or an exercise video. I do a barefoot weather guy. Yeah. And did you see my?
I haven't seen the barefoot weather guy.
You gotta see the one I did of the storm.
Yeah.
Seriously, folks, it went viral. Yes, but it was. My wife said, "You're crazy being out there,"
Yeah.
But it was good. But I always try to do motivating things. At least what I think of is motivating.
Right.
So
Yeah, I do some of that stuff too, and I'll have somebody send me a note that I didn't even think was paying attention. Say, hey, I like what you're doing. Keep it up. So when you get something like that, that's kind of cool. Having an impact.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes you don't really know what the impact is. I'll run into somebody 3 years later, and they'll say, hey, you know, how come you haven't written your blog lately? So I started writing my blog again.
No,
so
it's the gym is a great atmosphere. You meet all kinds of people.
Yeah.
And I want to meet every one of them.
Well, I think a lot of people think when I'm going to start the gym that it's a negative thing, or that they're going to be there every day and that it's you know, purgatory.
Yeah.
But it really can be an enjoyable experience.
It's social.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a bar, like Cheers without alcohol.
Right.
You know, because you get to talk to people, and you know, there are some people that want to just come in and stay focused, and you know, I can tell when I'm going by the cardio machines, giving the knuckles to everybody. You know, you can every once in a while.
Yeah, you don't get any eye contact.
99% of the time, the people are responsive. You know?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I appreciate that.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. You're making a difference.
Oh,
we appreciate you being on. And like I said, I try to get around and talk to people that are kind of doing extraordinary things.
Yeah.
You certainly have done a bunch of extraordinary things. It's kind of cool to catch up with you. I know we probably didn't even scratch the surface. We could talk for hours about any one of the things that we talked about, but I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're supposed to be getting a nap about now.
Thank you for bringing me out of my shell.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
And thank you for my imaginary friend sitting over there. And seriously, people, just go to a gym or exercise at home. All you've got to do is just walk.
Go for a walk.
Dance. Just keep moving. You're not going to see me dance, but anyway.
Thank you, Skip.
So
Skip
much.
Robinson, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's been great having him on the Ordinary People Doing Extraordinary Things podcast. I think this is episode 20, if I'm not mistaken, Mitchell. We set out this year to try to do one a week, and this is probably 20. We're wrapping up the year, so we didn't hit our goal, but we got 20 more than we had last year.
Don't forget Marty.
Yep, we're gonna get Marty Joyce here next. We'll get him on. We've got, I believe we've got a nutrition person coming on next week. It seems like we have this fitness and nutrition kind of theme to this podcast, but we've had mortgage brokers on. We've had all kinds of different people. So it's been fun. So thanks for adding to it. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. We'll get this loaded up and out in the next day or so.
Just another day in paradise.